Hello and welcome to another edition of the Cognitive Discourse. Today I'm going to talk about something that really gets under my skin. And I'm going to cover one specific avenue, but this covers a blanket of things. So bear with me, I might kind of be all over the place here. But it is the lack of, how do I put it? The lack of love into a product. I think a lot of people have really lost integrity. Integrity is a big, powerful word that is being lost among the youth. And I know I sound like an old man when I say that, but people don't take pride in what they do anymore. People just push out. People have this mentality of what's the quickest and fastest way that I can make some money. And no one really puts in the work to create a product that will have longevity and that will be superb and superior to competition. One of the big problems that I'm seeing right now is in the game industry. The game industry has been dealing with this for a few years, and I figured they would have learned from one of the biggest ones, which is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, for those of you who aren't gamers, I want you to understand that I'll try to explain this the best I can. But for those who are in the know, you already know where I'm going with this. But Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out, and it's basically a third-person shooter that takes place in the Star Wars world. And you can play as the Empire, you can play as the Rebels, and you can play online, and it's, I think it's like 32v32. And it's really cool. You can be Jedis, you can be, all kinds of cool stuff. And you battle, and it's good versus evil, basically, right? In Star Wars shooter form. Great game. When it first came out, it's a great game now. When it first came out, it was a huge flop. Now, they have what's called microtransactions. At a time, early 2010, around the 2010s, I don't even know how to word that, but I guess in the tens, pre-20s, microtransactions became a huge thing. So back in the day, back in like the PS3 days, PS3 is still one of my favorite consoles. Back in the day, PS3 games, when you bought a game, you got a hard copy of it, you put the hard copy in, and you were able to play it right then and there. As time has progressed, developers, not even so much developers, I think it's more of the studios, are becoming more money hungry. So the difference between having your developers and your studios are the studios, like the big ones like Activision and EA and Square Enix, they hire smaller companies. It's just when you'll hear the word devs, the developers, they hire those smaller companies to make their game. So like if the Call of Duty fanboys out there, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, those guys develop the game, and Activision is the company that basically invests in those developers to publish the game. So I'm blaming mainly the studios, because the studios are the ones that are putting the pressure on the developers to basically crank out something, to put it out so they can make money. And these companies were trying to figure out, how do we make more money off of the consumer? They weren't happy enough that they got $60 off of you. They wanted to figure out, okay, so how can we milk these games? Especially with titles like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a title that it gets put out yearly, which I think is dumb. It should be put out at least by yearly, or whatever you call it, every other year. I was never really a fan of the year thing. Granted, they had a cool system where Infinity War would drop one, and then they gave Treyarch time to make something, and then they would drop the following year. So they had a cool little pattern going, but you still were getting pretty much the same damn game, with a little bit of tweaking here and there. And then came the microtransactions. So what a microtransaction is basically guns, perks, things that make you better at the game, weapons and perks and stuff, get put behind a paywall. So it's basically pay to win. All the good guns are behind that paywall. So you pay a fee, and you can. Some games did it outright. You could just buy like a pack, and boom, you got it. Others did basically a form of gambling, where you would, you'd pay and you'd get a chest, and it's luck. Well, what are you gonna draw? And the percentages of you getting something that you actually want are slim to none. But you keep playing, you keep playing, you keep playing. It was gambling for kids. And so that became a huge, huge deal, because it essentially kind of broke games in the sense that you're paying $60 and you're getting a bare bones game. You're not even getting the complete game. And then you saw that actually coming with map packs. So, I mean, this started early, even with map packs. Now that I'm thinking about it, like Call of Duty used to have DLC. You could pay to get DLC. I actually didn't have a problem with that, because at that time, because you would see that on PS3, at that time when you were getting DLC, a lot of the times you were getting add-ons. You weren't getting something that was held from the game originally. It was something that was added to enhance the experience of a game that you've already been playing for a while. But at launch, you still got the full game for your $60. So map packs, I was not against DLC. That type of DLC, I'm not against. What I am against, though, is this lottery of you have to pay real money to get what should already be in the game. Well, Battlefront 2 really blatantly did it out and wasn't hiding anything about it, and they got caught red-handed, and the community basically bit back, forced them to rethink their game. And I mean, that all the Jedis were behind a paywall, all the good guns were behind a paywall. Like anything that you wanted to do in the game was behind a fucking paywall. And if you wanted to unlock it on a free level, you had to grind and grind and grind. I mean, it was, by the time you got what you wanted and unlocked everything fully in the game would have been 10 years old. So they really screwed everybody, and they basically gave you a $60 game that said, oh, you want to play with the characters you want to play with? Cough up more money. So it was this huge thing. They went back to the drawing board. They refixed the game. And the sad part is the game finally became what it should have been on launch towards the end of its run cycle. So the game is still super popular today. A lot of people still play it, but the devs don't back the game anymore. So we don't get updates, we don't get new maps, we don't get more characters, none of that stuff. Like I feel like they still missed an opportunity. But with that said, they fixed their issue. They were able to bring back the community that they lost. Granted, I don't think 100% of that community came back, but they got a good majority. I know they got me coming back. I went back. I still play that game. I still love that game. And I'm hoping that with Battlefront 3, if they ever do make a Battlefront 3, that they learned from their mistakes on the second one and they put out a stellar product. I'm keeping my faith with them. But that moves me on to the game that I originally wanted to talk about, and that is Outriders. I knew nothing about this game going into it. A buddy of mine's actually the one that told me about it. And from what I know, Outriders was in development for 5 years by a little company called People Can Fly. And Square Enix was going to be the studio that was going to help publish this game. Square Enix also just released the Avengers game prior to Outriders, which that game kind of fell flat. So my grief with this game is that we paid $60. I had a group of two. There was a group total of 3, me and 2 other of my buddies who were playing this game. We all bought it on launch and we started playing it. And it's a broken game. It was broken day one. The developers were aware of this broken game. And to give you an idea how bad it was, okay, on launch, you could not even sign into the main menu. People were having trouble signing into the main menu to even start the damn game. That's a problem when you can't even sign in to the servers. As the story progressed, we found out that this company didn't test run their servers. They didn't do dedicated servers like they should have. They cheaped out. Ultimately, they cut a lot of corners. The frustrating part is that they tweeted during Easter saying that the dev team was working through the weekend and trying to make us feel bad for them working through the weekend to fix the game that we paid $60 for. And it annoys me that people gave them a pass. It's like, no, you don't deserve a pass. You had 5 years to develop this game. And you took my money and it was broken. It wasn't even 100%. Now, I get it. Nowadays, developers don't release 100% product. It's an art that's lost. And you get patches. A little bit of bugs here and there. I give games passes for that type of stuff. But when your game is completely broken and unplayable, and you're asking me to give you $60 to play something that's not even ready to be released, I'd much rather you push it back. I much rather wait longer for a game and it be 100% ready to go than you push something out that's not ready to go, and then you're looking at us like, well, So they basically rushed the game out that wasn't ready. It was literally in beta form. Let's put it that way. We the community were the goddamn game testers. At this point, I'm looking at People Can Fly, and I'm looking at Square Enix, and I'm saying, hey guys, where's my and my buddy's money? You guys owe us for the hours that we put into your game to test run it for you, because you were too cheap to test run your game prior to releasing it. There are companies that you can pay to do that, to stress test your servers. You refuse to do that. So you owe me money. We're a little over a month into this game being released, and it's still broken. The first patch that they dropped didn't fix the game. It made it worse. People were losing their entire inventories. Character wipes. Psh, granted, it didn't happen to me. Luckily, it didn't happen to me. Me and my friends lucked out. We were playing the story mode, and because we only play a couple hours a night, it took us a while to beat the game. So they have this thing called expeditions, which is it's in-game content. So after you beat the story, you can do these dungeons, if you will, and that's how you get legendary gear and you get better gear, and then there's a tier system and all that stuff. So it's a looter shooter at the end of the day. And we hadn't gotten to that point yet. But the people that were already there, who were in tier 15, which is the top tier of expeditions, they were having their gear taken away. It was just, there was a glitch, and all their shit was just being wiped. All their armor, all their guns. That would make you not want to play no more. The frustrating part is that this is, although a toxic community, and I'll get into why they're toxic in a little bit, but although they're a toxic community, they're a loyal fucking community. The Outriders community is loyal as shit and have given these devs so many damn passes. I've been watching this shit unfold for the past month and a half, and people have been giving them pass after pass after pass after pass, and yet these devs have still continued to shit on their community because they don't want to fix their damn game. They go silent on the weekends. They released their third patch. There was a second or third patch on a Friday, knowing damn well they were going to go dark on a Saturday, and there were still issues. And we don't hear anything from them for 2 fucking days. That type of shit is frustrating. That type of shit makes me upset. That shows the lack of importance that people who create a product have anymore. People just want to find the quickest way to make a buck, and it's frustrating. Now, the reason why I said the community is toxic is because there's an issue. I don't know if it hasn't been fixed. I haven't played Outriders in like a week, almost a week. I started Battlefield 5, came out free on PS Plus this month. I've been playing that with the boys. Outriders at this point can lick my nuts. I'm beyond frustrated with trying to hop on with them when we just want to play and have a good time and just chill. And we're dealing with glitches. We're dealing with damage numbers not making fucking sense. We're dealing with, the loot percentages not dropping the way they're supposed to. Just, and the sign-in issues that finally got taken care of after a month. We'd be waiting 30 minutes just to fucking log in so we could play with each other. Getting dropped from each other's things, having shitty fucking connection when we're all local. We all live in the same goddamn city. Yet our ping is fucking atrocious. Our connection is just horrible. We're in yellow and red when we should be in green. But it's because there's no dedicated servers. So at this point, I'm done. But there's another underlining problem with the game that shouldn't even be a fucking issue, and it is. And this is why I said they have a toxic community, and the devs should have fucking never had that. There should have never been this ability to begin with. And one of it is when you're running an expedition, you can jump in and out of lobbies. So if you don't have another two friends to play with, you can jump in with randos, and you can jump into their game, and you can do an expedition with them. This game caters to multiplayer. The game actually does not like when you play solo. There was a glitch that helped people do solo runs, and they fixed that glitch. So people now can't even run an expedition solo anymore. They are being pushed and forced to play with other players, which is cool. But at the same time, there's a reason why people want to play solo, because when you hop into a lobby with total randos, if you're not the host, you have a possibility of doing an expedition and then not getting any loot. And how that works is the way that they've been trolling is that you hop into an expedition, you run the game with your buddies at the time, these randos. At the very end, when you beat the last boss, there's a pod that you open and all the loot comes out of it. And when the loot comes out, you collect your loot and you can get, rares, epics, legendaries. Well, trolls have been waiting till right when they kill the boss, right when you go to open the loot or the pod to get your loot, they turn around and kick you from the party. And if you get kicked, you don't get any of the loot. Now tell me, why is that feature in the damn game to begin with? Developers, when they develop a game, need to go with the mindset that your community is going to be toxic regardless. Should not have features like that, especially when you're pushing a game to be a multiplayer game and to play with other people. You should not have a feature like that. And if you have a feature where you can kick people, that feature should go away when you go to fight that last boss. That should not be an option at that point. If I'm riding with you from the beginning and I've rode with you all the way to the end of that expedition, you should not be able to kick me at the very end and screw me out of getting items that I could have got. I just wasted my time at that point. And you may be listening to this and be like, dude, it's just a game, calm down. No, it's a game that people are paying money for. At the end of the day, it's a product that I paid for, and I'm getting something that's broken. Let's take it away from video games for a second. Let's look at, say fast food, for instance. When you go to a fast food restaurant, you know what irritates me the most when I go to a fast food restaurant? Is when I order food and when they hand me my soda, they don't have the common courtesy to wipe the damn cup down. A cup that they made dirty. You think I want my cup holder to be sticky? And then they give you attitude when you ask them, hey, can you wipe that down for me? It's not my job mentality is what's ruining the overall productivity of places. It's really, really frustrating. People don't pay attention anymore. People don't care. If it's not for them, they don't give a shit. People have lost integrity. People have lost pride in what they do. People go to work nowadays and they don't even want to be there. Well, that's fine. Then don't go. I worked customer service pretty much my entire work career. And even when I didn't want to be there, I still did what I had to do. I still gave great customer service because at the end of the day, that was my job. Yes, my job was to stock shelves and to make the store look good, but I also was supposed to give customer service. It's annoying when you go somewhere and the person working there make you feel, the customer, feel like you shouldn't be there. Make you feel like you're a chore. I'm giving you money for goods and services. If you don't want to be screwed over, then why in the hell do you think I would want to be screwed over? I've never understood that mentality. Well, it's not me, so I don't give a shit. Okay, cool. But one of these times it is going to be you. And when it is you, if you have that mentality, then you shouldn't get mad when you get screwed over. Plain and simple. If you're getting upset because you got screwed over, then guess what? Don't screw other people over. Plain and simple. We'd be a happier society if we stop just thinking about ourselves and just trying to benefit for ourselves. And if you're going to make a product and you're going to create something out of nothing, do it with love, do it with pride. Be proud to sell that, whatever it is that you're doing, to a consumer, and know that that consumer got the best of whatever it is that you're selling. What happened to that? Where did that go? You see it across the board, not just in the game industry, not just in the food industry, everywhere. You see it everywhere. The game industry is just one of the things that I'm pointing out, just because it just recently, it's fresh in my memory. It just recently happened. But I see it across the board with things. It's funny because I joke with my friends, but Chick-fil-A gets a lot of hate, but I love going to Chick-fil-A. And one of the main reasons I love going to Chick-fil-A is because of their customer service. You can hate Chick-fil-A all you want. You can hate their political views. You can hate the way that the owner views things. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you cannot ever question the customer service from a Chick-fil-A. Now, I can't speak for all locations, but I know that the locations that I've gone to has been consistent. They never get my order wrong, and the people that work there have always been super friendly. I've never felt like I was a burden. I can't say that for pretty much any other restaurant. The only other one I can think of is the Firehouse Subs. Firehouse Subs and Chick-fil-A, I tend to frequent the most because of the customer service, because of the quality of the food. You know how many times I've gone to like a Taco Cabana and I've ordered chicken flatas and I get them and you can just biting into them, you can tell that the grease needed to be changed. Or how many times I've gone and ordered an egg McMuffin and with a hash brown, and the hash brown is burnt because the grease needed to be changed. People don't do their jobs. That wasn't a problem when I was a kid. I don't ever remember going to fast food restaurants and having poor quality. Granted, yes, the food already is a poor quality. Let's not lose focus on my point. Point is that people are not getting what they paid for anymore. Because the people who are making the products are not taking the time to do quality control. There's no pride in it. Just give it to them. Fuck it. I don't even want to think of how many times I've ordered fast food and my food has actually probably hit the floor. or has been made in really bad conditions. Nobody cares anymore. It's frustrating. And the funny thing is that I left customer service because I got tired of my bosses. But at the end of the day, I can confidently say that that store is missing out on a really good employee. Because I always put the customer first. Even during the pandemic, I put customers first. The elderly, they knew who to come to. Company policy said one thing, I didn't listen. I had elderly folks that came into my store and they came straight to me. And when people were hoarding stuff, I had control over the produce. And I knew who was coming in. And I had my regulars. And I put stuff aside. I wasn't supposed to, and I still did it. Because again, I want to take care of customers. And I'm definitely going to take care of loyal customers. But you don't see that anymore. People don't take pride in their work. At least not the younger generation. But I'm starting to see it with some of the older folks too. They just don't care. They don't care. And I get it. I get it. To a degree. Corporations don't give a fuck. So I understand why people shouldn't. But sometimes you just got to put your best foot forward and say, fuck the corporation. I'm starting to see more business owners pop up with the way things are going with COVID and stuff like that. People are finding alternatives to making an income. And in a way, I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to pan out. Because I'm already starting to see the division in like content creators and stuff like that. But there still are people out there who cheat the system who are still winning. I could just shut up and just cheat the system too, but I'm not. Again, that's where the integrity comes in. I can't do it. I need to stay loyal to myself. But at the end of the day, yeah, this episode was just kind of a rant. But yeah, Outriders, if you play Outriders, like, leave me a comment. Let me know, how do you feel about the whole Outriders situation? Do you give People Can Fly a pass? Do you blame Square Enix? Do you give both Square Enix and People Can Fly a pass? I like I said at the beginning of this, I always I put the blame mainly on the big companies, the Activisions, the EAs, the Square Enixes. But in this particular situation, I have to put blame on People Can Fly as well. I think Square Enix and People Can Fly both are at fault here. Because at the end of the day, they were even saying, the way they were writing certain things, like, they were basically telling us like to recreate the problems that we were having. It's like, bro, I'm not a fucking tester, bro. Like, they were trying to get real specific with the player base. Like, well, what time did it happen? What level were you on? What were you doing this? Can you recreate it? Can you do it again? Bro, that's not my job. I'm a consumer. I bought your product that's supposed to work. If you're asking for all this detail, then you need to pay me some money, bro. I need some hours paid in. I work for $15 an hour. Hook it up. And even like the Days Gone writer came out publicly and said that, he's blaming, the fan sales on why a sequel is not happening. And if I remember correctly, that game was broken when it came out too. So instead of taking responsibility for your fucking shitty game, you want to blame the fans for why there's not going to be a sequel. Okay. You're not going to stop and think, well, maybe because we put out a subpar product. Oh, and it also happens to be in the zombie genre that's kind of wore out, could possibly be why people don't want to buy my game. And also the climate of it in general. Most people are waiting anymore. Outriders is one of the first games that I've bought in years that I bought on launch day. And it's a perfect example of why I don't buy games on launch day. Since I've had my PS4, which I bought years later, I literally just bought my PS4 probably 2-3 years ago. And when I bought it, I never bought a launch title. The majority of the games in my library are games that I bought on flash sales or I got free through PS Plus. And there's a reason for it. So you game developers, you can cry and bitch and moan all y'all want about the community not having your back. We would have your back if you made a solid fucking game. Take some pride in what the fuck you're doing. If you have to work those extra hours to put out a solid product, then fucking do it. Because at the end of the day, if you give us something that is good, that is great, that is superior, you will get your money. You will have a dedicated following. Give us a good product, and you will see that you will have a loyal base. Outriders had the opportunity to really prove that, and they fucking shit the fucking bed. Plain and simple. And again, they had a community that had their back, that gave them multiple chances. Hell, I gave them multiple chances. And I know, who the fuck am I, right? But that mentality is the problem. It doesn't matter who I am. Fact of the matter is that you're making a product to sell to consumers. You need to make sure that that product is viable and worth the price that you're selling it for. And to the dude from Days Gone, you can go eat a dick. Your game was subpar. And for you to come out and shit on the people who actually gave money to play your subpar game and you shit on that community, you can go suck a dick. But yeah, I don't understand the mentality. If you're a game developer, and you get pissed off at this episode, so be it. Make better games. If you're a fast food worker and this irritated you, so what? Do your fucking job. Be the best that you can be every day. Stop being a piece of shit. Stop half-assing life. Life isn't meant to cut corners. And if you're pissed off because you can't get any other job, well, maybe you need to take a hard look at yourself and understand why you're in fast food. And if you suck at that, take a hard look at yourself. And this may sound mean, this may sound judgmental, but I'm trying not to be mean. It's just cold hard truth, man. Take pride in what you do. Find something that makes you happy and go all in with it. But don't half-ass it. Put in the work. If you're going to sell products to consumers, make sure it's a good product, man. It's frustrating trying to fucking deal with all that bullshit, and then you get all these excuses of why it is the way it is. The game industry is going to destroy itself because it keeps because of greed. Because of greed, it's going to destroy itself, which is it's such an ass backwards way of thinking. Because you look at it like they want to take as much money as they want from you and give you a subpar product, when if they would just make a good fucking product, they would make their money. But greed is overwhelming them. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. But with that said, have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time.